Can you share your name, pronouns, and a little introduction about yourself?
Yes, my name is Aundaray Guess. Pronoun is he, him. About myself, I've been working in nonprofits for I would say about 30 years. 20 of those has been working exclusively in the LGBT community. So I've had positions where I did education and about HIV/AIDS. And there was a stigma campaign where I created posters that were plastered around the city to raise awareness about HIV, particularly in African American communities. And I helped in New York City create an initiative where we introduced the HIV conversation into faith-based institutions. And then from there, I moved over to the current role over here at GRIOT Circle, where I'm now working with LGBT adults, seniors of color.
Hmm.
So I did a spectrum from the young people to the seasoned people. And in that role, what our motto here at GRIOT Circle is we don't do bingo. So kind of changing that mind uh, perception of seniors when they come to GRIOT Circle, that it's not a traditional senior center where you come and have lunch and then go home. We're more of an innovative space where we have discussions affecting their lives, such as um, you know STD conversations, because a lot of people think that seniors are not having sex, but in fact they are having sex. So we provide that type of information as well as how to advocate for yourselves in your community, within your own lives, about relationships. And we still have the traditional programming such as wood carving, Tai Chi, wellness groups, our support groups such as the HIV men's uh, senior group, women's group, book club, and such. But we wrap it around, the community of Griot itself, which is Swahili for storytelling.
Hmm.
So it creates an opportunity for us to gather together, share our stories, and find those commonalities as relates to being not only a senior, but as it relates to being LGBT and as it relates to being a person of color and looking at those spectrums of our lives.
Thank you for giving that super thorough introduction. I have a couple questions that dive into a bit of what you mentioned already. So, to begin, as the Deputy Director of GRIOT Circle, can you further describe the organization's mission in your own words?
Yes, so our mission is to reduce the barriers and challenges that LGBT seniors of color face. And those challenges can be inequality in healthcare, food insecurities, also just pretty much the quality of life, recognizing that as people of color, although you're in your senior years, you still face racial injustice. And they still, have incidents of racial, incidents, directed toward them. So we try to reduce those barriers and try to provide more education, as well as our main goal is to help seniors stay in place, meaning that we want to help seniors stay within our communities and within our homes. Recognizing, especially here in New York, the challenges of housing,
Mhm.
uh, the challenges of gentrification, where often it is seniors of color, regardless of sexuality, who are forced to uproot their lives when they should be settling into their lives. But uprooting their lives in their 70s, 80s, and starting it in a new neighborhood where there's less resources, less community, and because of either landlord abuse who want to push seniors out, so that again that process of gentrification continues on, and like I said, seniors are affected by that. But yeah, and also I think yeah, I believe I mentioned inequality in health, and the fact that we still have community that we all sometimes don't receive the best health care, the best advice, and sometimes the best prescriptions for what we're going through. So, you know, we provide that support and advocacy to LGBT seniors of
And
color.
and since your organization provides so many different psychosocial, educational, and recreational programming, how does this diverse set of social engagement kind of shape your community and help work against those instances of discontinuity, whether it's housing or relationship building?
But the greatest thing about our organization is that, unlike a lot of senior centers, we're not a passive organization, meaning that we hear and incorporate the past lives of the members. So we make sure that they help be part of the decision making here, whether it's with programming, whether it's with our mission, and also we help, uh, you know, provide those tools so that they can sit at the tables where these conversations are being made. So that means that we actually have like conversations, our tools, our practices, and how to join your community board. So that if changes are happening at your community, how can you be part of that process rather than being on the passive side of it? When it comes to doctors, how to raise your level of awareness of, or to raise the level that you're not getting the care that you're receiving. So it may not be just a conversation with your doctor. It may now be a higher up conversation that you're having with other people. So we instill those tools within our members, recognizing that we can't be everywhere, but at least hopefully we plant those seeds of advocacy, and that kind of shapes who we are. It even reshapes the conversation, such as like when Black Lives Matter was really in full swing. We had to have a frank conversation about, Black Lives Matter, and not speaking against the movement, but also recognizing that within that movement, oftentimes it was Black men who we marched for, and we didn't have that same kind of passion when it was either a Black person, and in particular a Black person who identifies as LGBT. So how can we raise even that within our community and be part of those, that anger, when our lives are unjustly, you know, taken. Recognizing also that we are committed to not only the L and not only the G and not only the B, but the T. And so we do have transgender seniors. And, if we are talking about Black Lives Matter, that, within the past years, transgender are on the rise, on the front lines of violence, and that their lives are heavily impacted. And often we don't have those conversations about how we can help, our sisters and brothers in that fight.
And what does it mean for the elders in your program to be part of a group that celebrates their identity, their history and interests, and what kind of response have you received from them?
I can always speak personally. For me, it's great because, it gives me that opportunity to start investing in my own future, recognizing that I'm not too far off where I'll be, one of the constituents, even though, the age limit to be identified as a senior is getting pushed back and back. It used to be 50, now it's 65, but that's being pushed back to 85. But for myself, it's great to be part of that community, part of that foundation where you're, putting in those efforts and investing, not only in myself, but even those who rise, behind me, who finds themselves, as an LGBT person now getting older and now, needing a place to feel affirmed. And then for our members, I know that that's the one thing that they will tell you is that they appreciate who we are because they have a place where they can still live and be their own true lives, and their own true selves. because there are some senior centers for our members where it's actually within walking distance of their homes, but they don't go to those places because they have to, hide their sexuality or can't be them true selves. So there's some come miles away, miles just to get to us, because they know that it's a place where they can be affirmed. And we're trying to help, even reduce that, recognizing that not a lot, but some of our members have two lives. We're here, they're affirmed as LGBT, but the minute they leave here and they walk outside the doors, they put back on that other mask of being a cis person, a straight person. So hopefully there will be a time where everybody who enters into these doors can still lead that same life outside in their communities.
Thank you for providing that space of relief for people who want the opportunity to be their most authentic self. And something,
Yeah.
yeah, very important. And something that your organization actively works to remedy is the isolation and loneliness that elders may feel. So, can you speak to the impact of your buddy to buddy program that allow your elders to have sincere connections?
Yeah, the Buddy to Buddy is a great program because it connects like-minded people together where they check up on each other. And I was at a benefit last year, I meant not last year, but last month, where somebody, they shared something that affirmed what we were doing, and that the greatest thing you can give a senior is just a call and just check on them, just say, hey, I'm just seeing how you doing. And that means so much to them because that means that somebody's thinking about them and that somebody cares. So the buddy to buddy is kind of an extension of that, where uh, mutual buddies, they just pretty much check on each other, call each other. There's an agreement that it's not one sided. So if me and you were buddies, it wouldn't just be you calling me, but also I would be calling you. So there's an agreement in that sense. But also, the great thing about the buddy to buddy relationship is not only does it reduce isolation, but it also opens up, pretty much even the city to, but those who are in the program, meaning that there are some who want to, here in New York City, we have so much to do, especially in the summer, but oftentimes seniors don't want to participate because they don't want to do it by themselves. So now they have a buddy that they can explore, this great city and somebody to share in their lives. We do emphasize that it's not a dating service, so people sign up. It's not, to find your significant others, but at the same time, we can't help if organically something happens. But the main emphasis of it is to create those buddy to buddy relationships where you can still feel connected to somebody.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And how has the gradual shift in public perception of the LGBTQ plus community impacted the elders that you know? Do they experience any sense of greater freedom, or are there still long-term challenges?
I think it I think for us, it kind of is models what's happening in the world, especially here in the country. So there was a time, right around gay marriage when, people were feeling affirmed and, you feel seen and that your issues matter, but then as the political landscape changed around, especially LGBT and especially what's going on now with laws being repealed, not only for LGBT, but for women, for, sometimes people, I don't think there has been for people of color, but we're seeing, oh yeah, it has the affirmative action. So we're seeing these laws being repealed and we're going back to kind of that dark age. And so there's this anxiety, within our members of, you know, are we next? So they still feel affirmed, but they're still keeping a pulse on what's happening as far as the local and national news. knowing that, a person of, a LGBT person can't read a book to a child, or certain books are being banned, or, you can't say certain words in Florida, don't say gay. Um, so there, and I think for our seniors, it feels like a roller coaster of emotion because, a lot of our seniors, they grew up during the civil rights era when a lot of these laws were being put in place. So now to kind of live that life where, you think that the battle is won, but now you're seeing that those accomplishments that happened when you were a young person is now being stripped away as you're older. It's kind of sad, but as much as we can, we continue to make the seniors feel affirmed, and hopefully, that affirmation carries on with them in their day-to-day lives.
Yeah, it is a bit unsettling, but
Yeah.
hopefully there continues to be progress that is in their benefit.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's still battles, but also, I think it in a way, and even for young people, even for young LGBT people, because I think we kind of hit a lull when things were going so good. We forgot how to fight. We forgot how to protest. We got kind of comfortable. And,
Okay.
and I think if there's any good thing about these recent rulers, it showed us that we can't get too comfortable. We gotta, get out there and we gotta make those who are trying to make us uncomfortable and make them, throw it back to them, and we gotta fight.
100%. I would now like to give you some open space just to talk about anything regarding GRIOT Circle and its work, or if you'd like to give any shout outs to other organizations that you're proud to speak of.
Yeah, let's see. Well, we're proud to say that we are going in 27 years of providing service. It was, the organization was started when there was a need or awareness that there was a lack of services or space for LGBT people of color. And, some may ask what's the difference between you and, organizations like SAGE, which works with LGBT also. And sadly, um, even within the LGBT world, we still have some work to do when it comes to accepting people of color. So within the LGBT community itself, there still are these barriers and this kind of invisibleness to LGBT of color. So hopefully, we can work and build bridges where we can finally, reduce that and be able to be seen. But until then, we feel like Real Circle serves that purpose. We always welcome anybody else who's doing this work. And, although, we identify as a person of color, we want to emphasize that no matter how you identify, you're welcome to walk to the door. So so if you say, hey, I'm white, can I be part of your organization? It's a resounding yes, because we do have members across the whole spectrum. It's just that the foundation of who we are is rooted in African American traditions. So we're open to all, and come as you are, and we'll accept you as who you are.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now so since ODAC is one of our values is working with other nonprofits and organizations that support the well-being of others, I just
Uh,
want to share a little bit about what we do. So ODAC was started by two previous NYU students who have since
oh,
graduated. Yeah, their names are Chirag Ram and Candice Medina. And the reason
yeah.
why they started it was because they had learned that New York State is actually ranked 50th nationwide in terms of percentage of registered organ donors.
Okay.
And so nearly 10,000 New Yorkers are currently waiting for an organ transplant statewide. and since only 42% of New Yorkers are registered, their mission was to reach out to the youth in the state, and they began hosting presentations at their high schools and tabling events where they provided education regarding the process and what it means to be a registered donor.
Okay, great. And
Yeah.
you and I have to say because maybe it's also, I mean, I love what you said because that's such an important, you know, matter, but also I graduated from NYU,
Oh, lovely.
so that's my alma mater.
Love to hear it.
Yeah,
So
and that's and you said that's a statewide initiative, correct?
mhm.
Okay.
Correct, yeah, and they started, so one of the founders, Chirag, is currently at Vanderbilt's, um, College of Medicine, so they recently started a new branch down there. So hopefully it'll be working to an even wider reach. And as a question that, I would like to close off between you and I, since both of our missions revolve around supporting other people's health, um, and their relationships with their community, what would you say is the most effective way of promoting advocacy and encouraging others to join your org?
Um, the most effective way is to, and I don't want to say go on your website because that sounds just so cookie cutter, but I would say, like I said, we have an open door to reach out and just, and it's an open door where, we welcome anybody, uh, and just come as you are. That was pretty much, I mean, definitely we're on the web and such where if you want to read much about us and learn about us, but we also are intentional in creating intergenerational space and conversations. So we've done things with the younger community, where we build these bridges and we have these platforms where, seniors and younger people come together and have these conversations. So even as far as even your initiative, if there's opportunity or that you see to talk about organ donors, I'm pretty sure our members would love to have a conversation where it may not be them, but they can also be ambassadors to pass along that information to those in their lives who may, be within that target.
Thank you so much.